The key to overcoming pain is to understand pain. Pain is generated from multiple sources throughout the body. That's why it's so difficult to overcome. When you look at pain, it's basically telling us there's danger, meaning your body's overactivated. By the time we feel it, there's a lot of different signals coming in that we need to attend to, but we're just throwing darts when we try to figure out how to stop it because, again, all these different sources have different inputs. Now, let's break it down to get a better understanding and better clarity how you know where to put your time and your focus to get over this pain. The first part is understanding the two main systems. You have your sympathetic and parasympathetic. Sympathetic is the fight or flight, meaning gets our nervous system activated, but at the same time, if we're too activated, we can also increase more input to that nervous system, thus feeding into the pain. Versus the parasympathetic, the rest, relaxation, digestion, this is where we calm the nervous system down. This is the game you want to play when it comes to overcoming the pain, and then we want to tap into the resources, which I'm about to go over, to understand how you do this. So let's look at those resources. So there's three main key areas that we want to think about. There's movement, performance, and recovery. Movement's going to be your ability to move. Now, we have those three main systems that we spoke about before, which are your musculoskeletal system, the cardiovascular system, and also the neuromuscular system. I'm going to throw this in there as far as how they relate. But understand all these systems have to connect, and that's where we can keep knocking out one source at a time and not going from a big, broad view to more strict understanding. How can we go detailed, meaning layers and layers and layers deeper than the superficial, more compartmentalized thought process we have when looking at pain. When we look at movement, this could be something as simple as overtraining, doing too much exercise, because the main key category here that we want to address that's adding to the pain in majority of people's cases is inflammation. Now, inflammation can be good or bad, just depending on the situation. We need inflammation. We need inflammation to help speed up the recovery of an injury or just micro tears or micro trauma from a workout. But if there's too much and there's chronic inflammation, this leads to more pain. So understanding movement in general can go either way. It could be movement's good because we open up the body, we get things moving, move the fluids throughout the body, help with the detox process, but also get those muscles activated. But if we overtrain, we increase that inflammation due to overworking our system. So we have to know that game, how we're playing when it comes to movement of the body. Second's going to be basically your performance. When we look at performance, we're also considering diet. So a lot of people don't realize this, but there's a lot of foods that they consider health foods that they're eating that are loaded with either oxalates, phytates, lectins, or just in general, a lot of things that add to your inflammation that you had no clue was even doing this. These oxalates go in there and rob the body of certain minerals such as calcium. So what ends up happening is you have these crystals formed throughout the body, kind of like glass shard, going in there, creating this increased pain you're experiencing, possibly kidney stones. But a lot of times this increased inflammation where it just feels like there's a sharp pain throughout the body. And this is frustrating. And I see this over and over with clients where they just can't figure out when it comes to injuries, recovery, why they can't get rid of their pain, and they just chalk it down to, well, maybe I'm just not doing the exercise right. That's part of it, but a lot of times it's really just understanding the diet and getting that honed in, understanding the key players that are keeping you from going to that next level. So again, we look at these different, what we call oxalates, maybe lectins, phytates, or even those general histamines, cytokines that go in there, increase that inflammation. When you're constantly putting yourself under stress like that, it's basically just increasing the inflammation, thus more pain. Now we want to look at your recovery. This is key, and this is one of the most important parts when it comes to overcoming this is learning the recovery process. Now there can be some mix over, some crossover in a lot of this because recovery could be some simple stuff like movement exercises, detoxing the body because you're getting basically the cardiovascular system moving. Maybe you're playing with heat, cold, different modalities that electrical grid like our nervous system. So again, those three main systems, your blood flow, as far as the cardiovascular system, the nervous system, electrical grid, so we're playing there with modalities, or even just in general the musculoskeletal system, so some light stretches, more or less mobility exercises. So again, you can take those three main systems and across the board, you can learn to activate them or deactivate them with that sympathetic or parasympathetic system in either the movement phase, the performance phase, which is diet also, and then also your recovery phase. When you put this together, you start becoming more strategic in understanding how the body actually works. And then your best way to get in there and throw some what we call lighter fluid on the fire is understanding how to communicate. When you can communicate, you have a better game plan of actually getting in there and getting the job done. Our different ways of communicating with those nerves are through your five senses. That being your sight, your smell, your touch, your hearing, and your taste. And so that's where the game comes in. We understand not only how to look at it from a broad view as far as how the body works, we start breaking it down into the main systems, Then we get a little bit more detailed. We keep asking questions. We look at it from a movement standpoint, performance standpoint, and then a recovery standpoint. And then again, we understand those three main systems that in our body, the musculoskeletal system, the cardiovascular system, and then your neuromuscular system, how they connect. And then we pour, again, that lighter fluid on the gas and say, hey, let's go speak to it. Let's speak positive. And we have a great idea of how to control your movement. We have a great idea how to control your diet. We have a great idea how to control your mindset. Because again, stress, anxiety, depression is not going to help any with this. It's only going to add to that nervous system being overactivated. And once you understand this and you start to play the game and you create an artistic way and be more creative with how you go about day to day, understanding how to, again, to get that sympathetic to the parasympathetic, you understand pain and you understand how to control your body and get it to a state that you want it to be, to live a life full of function, activity, but also in a lower state of increased activity to the nervous system that's providing less pain in your life.